media present, as well as our dynamic president of the Cook County Board of Commissioners, Ms. Toni Precwinkle. And on behalf of the American Multi-Ethnic Coalition, Inc., we are here gathered here today. And I would first like our Vice Chairman of the American Multi-Ethnic Coalition, Ms. Rani Yousafali. Ms. Rani Yousafali is of Pakistan descent and her mom is from Iranian. So she's a very strange mix. She's a very active member of our coalition and our multi-ethnic group for the last 8 years. And Rani is also the president of Excellent Healthcare. She has several self-entrepreneurial healthcare initiatives. And without much ado, I'm happy to welcome Rani Yousafali.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How are you? I'm extremely proud to be standing here as a woman and welcoming our first woman president of Cook County Board of Commissioners. I would like to officially welcome you on the behalf of American Multi-Ethnic Coalition, which consists of different ethnic backgrounds, different religions, that everybody can relate on a lot of things that you have passion in. We're all gathered here today to show our support, to show that we are standing behind you for your upcoming election, and there's good reasons for it. Your passion for healthcare, which it hits home for me. Your passion for the people of the Cook County. Even yourself took a cut from your pay to make sure that everybody else is very well taken care of. The wise spending of the money that comes in the Cook County and how you distribute it is extremely, extremely powerful, and it really finally shows that when someone cares about the people, they can do the best, and you are doing that very well job. So we are all here to, again, show our support from different churches, mosques, and different backgrounds, because minorities create a big part of this community. And we are behind you, and we're welcoming you again, Ms. President.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rani. Now I'd like to have each of the media who are present here to please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, my name is Hemant, and I'm publisher of the High India newspaper, High India newspaper, and the Sandesh publication, which is a Gujarati.
My name is Prasant. We made at India Tribune office. I'm
Yes,
the publisher
sure
of
we
the
did.
India Tribune.
Madhu Patel, India Post and NRI Today.
Ganesh Sufarawala from India Post newspaper.
Harish Rao from Media Net, Divya Bhaskar newspaper, Gujarati newspaper.
Rana Javed from Pakistan News and a host of the radio Sargam Chicago.
Thank you very much. And now I would request our chairman, Mr. Kishore Mehta. As you all know, he has been a great community leader. He heads the Advanced Career Tech, which does placement services for the last 40 years in the United States. And he and his wife also own a travel agency in Naperville. And Mr. Kishore Mehta will offer his opening remarks. Mr. Mehta.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay Prabhakar ji. I truly appreciate your introduction. I would like to, first of all, say good morning to all our media friends on that. And on American Multi-Ethnic Coalition and Multi-Ethnic Advisory Task Force truly appreciates your support, your partnership, and your pledge to our community. We thank you for that. And it is my pleasure and honor to invite you all and request for your support for Toni Precwinkle, President of Cook County Board of Commissioners.
Thank you. Thank you.
A nationally recognized leader, Toni Precwinkle is the 35th President of Cook County Board of Commissioners, and she is holding that office since 2010. Ms. Precwinkle is also president of Forest Preserve of Cook County, the largest forest preserve district in country. She is head of one of the nation's largest public health and hospital system and one of the nation's largest criminal justice systems. A devoted, effective public servant, President Precwinkle has worked diligently to reshape county government through increased fiscal accountability, transparency, and improved services. I humbly request you all to spread the word around to vote for President Toni Precwinkle.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And now, being a part of American Multi-Ethnic Task Force and American Multi-Ethnic Coalitions, I wanted to give you a little bit of heads up about our future programs. On February 17th, this coming Saturday, we have a program. We are celebrating Bishop Wallabh Dasji's 85th birthday, and it's so nice of your office to confirm your presence at that thing, madam. Thank you so much for that. March 9th, this will be our 6th annual International Women's Day celebration in the evening, and during daytime, Madam President will conduct a 60 women's coming into that for a seminar in daytime. For that, in May 18th and 19th, we are having International Education Connect in Chicago also, at Mother Wade's place in South Side. July 24th and 25th, we are having GSA Economic Meet in Waterford in Elmhurst for that. As you all know, in August 25th, we are doing our annual get-together, our Multi-Ethnic Advisory Task Force annual gala on 25th August at Meadows Club this year. And September, last week, we have not decided the date yet, but we are doing Global International Conclave. So these are the upcoming events for our organization, and I will truly appreciate your support for all those events. Thank you very much. Without further delay, I'll request Vijayji.
Thank you, Kishorji. It's my great privilege to introduce this young lady, popularly known as America's Iron Lady. Ms. Toni Precwinkle, as a 16-year-old girl, started her political career in Minneapolis when she campaigned for the first African-American woman who ran for the city council in Minneapolis, St. Paul, I guess. And Ms. Toni Precwinkle moved to Chicago. She was a school teacher here for 8 years in Chicago's public school systems. And then in 1991, she was elected as alderman of the 4th Ward. And from there began her political career. In 2000, as an alderman in the city council, she was known because she was not a yes alderman, as we see, whoever totters the dictates of the mayor. She stood out because she was one of the few aldermen who was outspoken for the people and also confronted and challenged Mayor Daley many a time. And from that great beginning of a courageous lady, she began her journey. In 2010, she took over the Cook County Board of Commissioners, the Cook County government, which has the seat in Chicago, which was embattled. There were $7 billion in debt. And she transformed Cook County to one of the most progressive counties in the United States. The greatest challenge for running the second biggest county in the United States was the public health and public safety, two major issues of the Cook County government. In public health, as you all know, she runs the Cook County Hospital, now known as John Stroger Hospital, which many of us are familiar, as it's been a mecca for all multi-ethnic communities, especially the immigrant communities, and everyone, everywhere get care at the Stroger Hospital. And it's one of the finest medical institutions in the country, which has to be showcased globally. And under her leadership, it's the first time, Kishorji was saying that she is the 31st president, but it was under her tenure that she turned around. The Cook County Hospital has been traditionally in the red, but she, thanks to the Obama healthcare and county care, made it in the black for the first time. She was also able to reduce the debt of Cook County for $7 billion. And as often as you see the challenges of a woman to run such a big Cook County government, the mainstream media always points the pitfalls. But here, this lady has stood fast her ground amidst all criticism. Tried, when she took over, there was the famous 1 penny tax, and she repealed, and she had the courage also to do the soda tax, which all of you are familiar, which had a great impact on healthcare movement in Cook County, though it was short-lived. And now she faces the challenges not only of turning around the Stroger Hospital, but the Cook County jail system. And do you know that it costs $163 per day to keep an inmate in the prison system? And the sheriff's office, the 5.2 million people who are residents of Cook County, she oversees all their services, and she's also now renting into economic development and planning initiatives for the Cook County. She oversees a budget of $4.2 billion. And half of it goes for the healthcare system and the other half for the Cook County Sheriff's Department. Ladies and gentlemen, the American Multi-Ethnic Coalition is proud to endorse Ms. Toni Precwinkle as the next president for the third term of Cook County Board of Commissioners. Without any further ado, to the wonderful, dynamic Iron Lady of America, Toni Precwinkle.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming, and I want to thank the American Multi-Ethnic Coalition for your support. I'm very grateful. I'm grateful for your presence today. As you heard in that kind introduction, the last 8 years have been a real challenge. But we've managed to put forward 8 balanced budgets. 8 balanced budgets. Every year we had a balanced budget. We made about $858 million in cuts. We reduced our workforce by 14%. We reduced our indebtedness by 11%. So I've tried hard to be a good fiscal steward of county government. And I believe, as I know you all do, that it's very important that government be reflective of the people that it serves. And I'm very proud of the fact that we have a very diverse cabinet and a very diverse leadership in the county. And actually, 2 of my 6 bureau chiefs come from the South Asian community. Amar Ritsky is an immigrant from Pakistan. He heads our Bureau of Finance, and our Bureau of Asset Management, which is responsible for all of our facilities, is headed up by Ann Kalile, and she's from the Indian American community. So 2 of our 6 bureau chiefs come from the South Asian community, and they're immigrants from South Asia. I believe that it's important, as I said, that the county be as diverse as the people that it represents. And so we tried to provide opportunity for everybody to be leaders in Cook County and to be part of our government. As you heard, half of our budget is healthcare. And we know that the South Asian community is well represented among healthcare providers. Half of our budget is healthcare. It's Stroger Hospital, it's Provident Hospital, and then 16 clinics around the county. And those clinics and those hospitals have always taken any person who comes to the door, regardless of your gender, your race, your national origin, your religion, your ability to pay. We take anyone who comes to the door. And we've done that for more than 180 years. More recently, we've been able to do it and operate in the black because of the Affordable Care Act. President Barack Obama's legacy legislation that enabled many, many more people to have access to health care than was previously the case. We have a Medicaid expansion program for people 19 to 64, and that program serves 350,000 people who either had no insurance before or only had it sporadically with their job. So we've made some real strides in the provision of health care as a result of the Affordable Care Act, and I'm very grateful to President Obama for that legislation. As you heard, a considerable portion of our budget also goes to criminal justice. 50% is health care and about 39% is criminal justice, public safety. And we worked hard to see that people accused of nonviolent crimes do not wait the disposition of their cases in the jail. Because we had people who were accused of having a couple of marijuana cigarettes in their pocket or shoplifting, being in jail for weeks or months because they couldn't afford their bond. So we put a lot of emphasis on changing the way bond court operates, to reduce our reliance on cash bond and reduce the number basically of poor people in the jail because they can't pay their cash bonds. We had 10,000 people in the jail on a daily basis when I came into office. We now have 6,200 people in the jail. And that's, thank you. And that means that people accused of nonviolent crimes are much less likely to be in jail as they await their trial than they were before. And that helps us as taxpayers as well, because as you heard, it's more than $160 a day to keep somebody in the jail. It's a very expensive proposition. So we're working hard on criminal justice reform, just as we're working to improve access and quality in our healthcare system. I've also put emphasis on economic development. So we've been working to combine our capital development, our community development, our building and zoning departments into one Bureau of Economic Development. And we also have 24 advisors in our Council of Economic Advisors, CEA, that provides us with help in how we should use our own resources and how better to relate to the business community. And we also have taken a leadership role in trying to bring together our 7-county region, which is the economic engine for the whole state. Northeastern Illinois is the economic engine for the whole state. So we brought together not just Cook and the city of Chicago, but Kane, Kendall, Will, McHenry, DuPage, and Lake to try to work together. And we've been working on a variety of economic development initiatives, transportation, distribution, and logistics, particularly truck permitting, because we're the capital of the Midwest. There's a lot of long-haul trucks that come through here and a lot of intermodal, train-to-truck and truck-to-train traffic. We're working helping small and medium-sized businesses export more. You all know the importance of exports. Export more because you have a better trajectory as a small business if you export. And finally, working in metal fabrication, because we've got a lot of metal fabricators in the 7-county region, and trying to help that part of our economy. Again, let me just say, I'm proud of the fact that Cook County is a sanctuary county, a welcoming county. I think the diversity of our county is our strength. And this is a county unusual in the United States in which more than half the people are people of color. It's about 25% Latino, 25% African American, 6% Asian. So a majority of the population in this county is people of color. And I'm very proud that the multi-ethnic coalition has decided that they will be supportive, and I'm very grateful for that support. I just want to thank you all. I'd be happy to take your questions.
Thank you, Madam President. The floor is open to the media for questions.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah, please.
Most people, they're concerned about real estate tax.
Real estate tax?
Yes. Do you expect, it's going to be increased?
Let me just say, it's hard to explain to people because Cook County assesses property, sends out the tax bill, collects the money. But our portion of the tax bill, what Cook County uses for its purposes, has stayed the same for more than 20 years. So Cook County hasn't raised property taxes in more than 20 years. Now, cities, towns, and villages have raised taxes, school districts have raised taxes, but Cook County has not. And it's a matter of pride to our commissioners that they have not. So I can't predict what's going to happen going forward, but that's the way we are now. So if property taxes may increase, but very likely it'll be because other units of government have increased property taxes.
So that is a hint that property tax will go up.
Well, for most local units of government, that's their main source of revenue. For every little city, town, village, that's how they get their money to operate, is property taxes. So I think that property taxes will continue to rise. I'm just saying that Cook County has not raised its property taxes as a government, as Cook County government, in more than 20 years.
Your move for the soda tax was really good move. And it died, and we feel sorry about it. But what do you think a replacement will be there? What replacement will be there?
I'm not sure that there are any votes for revenue at the moment. I think our commissioners who supported the sweetened beverage tax feel a little burned by what happened. And so when we were putting together this budget to see if there was a revenue source that we could replace the $200 million that was lost, we didn't find any votes for revenue. And let me just say, this is good public policy. Sweetened beverages are a big contributor to obesity. Obesity is a driver of diabetes and heart disease. But sometimes good public policy is not possible or popular. And this was surely a case where it wasn't popular.
It was not popular. Yeah, I agree.
But it was good public policy.
Good policy.
And it's done, and we've moved on, and we had a real challenge with our budget. Instead of making $115 million in cuts, we had to make $315 million in cuts, and we did. We ended up laying off 328 people, cutting services and programs, because we have to have a balanced budget. Unlike the federal government, we cannot have unbalanced budgets. And we, every year, had a real balanced budget.
It's a big contribution from you.
Thank you. We worked hard, yes. Yes?
Why you think the McCormick at one time was biggest trade shows in Chicago?
Right.
What happened?
Well, you know, I think the business has changed. There was a time when the only way in which you could see new products or meet with people was to go to a show, go to a convention. But now with the internet and with conference calls and Skype, you can meet people, you can talk to people, you can do that networking. You don't necessarily need to be face to face. And so I think that changes in technology, particularly communications technology, have changed the dynamics for shows of various kinds. And I think it's not just McCormick Place that has struggled in this new environment. I think it's broader. We're also, frankly, in a part of the country where the weather's pretty miserable in the winter. And so some of the warmer places, like Las Vegas, for example, that are warm year-round have some advantages over us in terms of attracting people in the winter months. So,
I'll give you a little hint.
sure.
I was very active in McCormick Place, and the trade started moving out because there was a rules and regulation of unions. That if I have booth there and if I bring my product, I can't even take my suitcase inside. I have to have a union guy to carry my suitcase. So cost and effect was so depressing that the whole industry moved to Atlanta and Las Vegas and Georgia. They started moving out.
Well, I know that there have been recent changes in the last several years in the work rules at McCormick Place that I think have made it more economical for vendors as they come to the city for these shows. But I can't speak to the long-term history.
Yeah, the biggest problem is that union. They have created so much rules and regulations. Industry started moving out into China because of all these things.
Well, I think the movement to China is a reflection of the lower wages that can be paid there as much as anything else. And whether or not our American workers are unionized, they're going to make more money than workers in China.
Ma'am, you mentioned that all your Cook County hospital
Yes.
give same treatment to everybody.
Yes,
What
everyone.
about undocumented immigrant? Because many of them, they don't have a social security number.
We serve the undocumented. We always have. We never ask anybody about their citizenship status. Never. And actually, let me just say, there are 72 hospitals in Cook County. 72. 45% of the charity care, that is care for people who can't pay, is done by our two hospitals, Georgia and Providence. So we provide almost half of the care to people who can't pay. And as I said, we never ask anybody about their status, never. And we serve anybody who comes to our door.
But they ask for the social security number. And many of them, they don't have even social security.
All right, well, that's something I'll check into. If they don't, we serve anybody. I mean, they may ask for your social security number, but they're not going to refuse you service because you don't have one. Anybody who comes to the door gets service. And you need to spread that news.
Yes,
And
yes.
because the fact that they ask for your number doesn't mean they won't serve you if you don't have it, okay? And I'll make sure that that gets addressed. Yes.
However, that cost is still there. Who pays for the cost?
Well, the people of Cook County pay. And let me just say, I'm proud of the fact that we serve whoever comes to our door. And I think that it's important that everybody have access to good health care. Dr. Ram Raju, who was head of our health and hospital system for several years before he went back to New York to run the healthcare system there, used to say to me all the time, If you want to be healthy, you want everyone around you to be healthy. You want the people who you meet on the bus, you want the people in the office, you want the people who serve you in the restaurant. You want everybody to be healthy because then you have a better chance of staying healthy. And so we should provide health care to everybody because it's in our own interests. It's something called herd health. If everybody around you is healthy, you have a better chance of staying healthy. And so the people of Cook County for more than 180 years have run a health care system where we provide health care to everybody.
I work in the mental health field and I deal with ex-offenders. I want to know, is there going to be more money for ex-offenders coming out of Cook County for mental health? Because there are a lot of those individuals who come to my program and getting them into service in an expeditious way. Is there going to be more money for mental health services?
Dr. Raju, when he headed up the healthcare system, said we ought to get into the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, because we hadn't. And so we started going to Washington to talk to our congressional delegation and to talk to people at the Department of Health and Human Services in Washington. And when we put together our Medicaid expansion program for people 19 to 64, Medicare, again, is for people 65 and older, but Medicaid expansion was part of the Affordable Care Act. We included behavioral health services because the hospital, frankly, the health and hospital system hadn't done very much in mental health previously, so this is all in the last 5 years that this has happened. So we made behavioral health services a part of the Medicaid expansion program. We absorbed an organization called C4, which was a behavioral health services organization, into our healthcare system when they were financially struggling because we knew it was important to provide behavioral health services to the residents of Cook County. So we put a lot of emphasis on behavioral health, and we enrolled people in the Cook County Jail in county care, which is our Medicaid expansion program, so that when they get out, they can have access to both physical health treatment and mental health treatment.
There is a scarcity for the doctors, especially primary care.
Right.
Most of the hospitals, they don't have enough residency spot. And many graduate doctors, they even don't find residency at all.
That's a challenge to our healthcare system as a whole, but it's not something that I can address as myself, you know what I mean? Because we have 2 hospitals out of 72. And frankly, there's a lot of competition to be residents at our hospital because it's a nationally known institution for the kind of good care that it provides to people. So there's a lot of competition for our slots, and I can't tell you what's happening in the 70 other hospitals, you know what I mean? So this is a challenge to our healthcare system more broadly, which I'm not sure that I can address as president of the county with just our 2 hospitals, you know what I mean?
Any other questions? Well, you heard our President, her complete, from A to Z. She's addressed topics from increase of property taxes to health care and mental health services and economic development. What we would like to offer you, President, on behalf of the American Multi-Ethnic Coalition is we wanted to have an economic meet sometime in July to focus on investment opportunities in Cook County.
Okay,
We
we'll
have
be
been
happy to do that.
discussing with your staff regarding that.
Okay.
And we have dates, and we're inviting investors from all over the world to come in and to showcase Cook County.
That would be wonderful.
Because,
Be happy to do that.
Great. Thank you. And now I'll request the closing remarks from the charming young president and owner of this restaurant, Hema's Kitchen, Mrs. Hema Potla. And Hema's Kitchen has been selected by the Grubhub as one of the top 3 restaurants in the whole country.
Oh my goodness.
And please come, stand up, Ms. Hema ji. Please stand up. And she would like to say, come stand next to the president. And Ms. Hema Potla's restaurant, last week on Monday, they has 20 camera crew from Grubhub, flew in from New York and London, and they did a whole day photo shoot here. And she's being featured along with the other restaurant in Miami and things. So let's give it up to Ms. Hema Potla. And she'd like to say a few words to appreciate from one successful woman entrepreneur to a very dynamic woman leader.
It's very sweet of you, Vijay, and thank you very much for ma'am for coming here.
Thank you very much for
And,
inviting me.
Yeah, and I appreciate and do come back again.
All right,
once you
that's a
are,
deal.
elected and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now I'll request the charming Chief Operating Officer of Hema Kitchens. They have a restaurant in downtown and restaurant here, Ms. Premila Kotla, wife of Jaggi, to garland our president with a sandalwood garland, which is a traditional Indian garland. Sandalwood is found in South India, in Karnataka, and she would formally garland garland the Honorable President. Toni Precwinkle.
That's my daughter.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Ma'am, it's an honor to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And she's also presenting a traditional shawl.
Okay.
I think it's matching your black suit
There we
today.
go.
You know, one of Tony's favorite colors are aqua blue.
That's right. Thank you.
Green.
Thank you.
And now we have in our midst the famous renowned artist, curator and jeweler, Padma Shri Dr. S.V. Ramarao. And his jewelry collections, you know, are very profound in coral and pearl work. Apart from his original oil paintings, which are compared to Picasso, he would like to present a jewelry pearl set, which he has curated to the President, Ms. Toni
thank you.
Precwinkle.
Thank you.
Padma Shri is the highest honor from India.
Oh my
He is-
goodness.
And we're very happy to have him in our midst.
Oh, that's
And he has-
beautiful.
It's a
Thank you so
handmade
much.
piece of pearls
Thank
from
you so
Hyderabad.
much.
He belongs to Hyderabad city, the same city where Hema ji comes from, the city of
Thank you.
pearls.
Thank you very much. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And now I'll request Mr. Clarence Beals, who is the president of Jordan's Dreams, which is a group home for mentally disabled and clients who need support, who come out of the prison system. And he's also the executive director of the American Multi-Ethnic Coalition, and he's from the South Side. Mr. Clarence Beal will propose a vote of thanks.
Yes, thank you. We'd like to thank the media and distinguished guests. We'd like to really acknowledge the work you guys are doing, making sure we had this press conference for our beloved Toni Precwinkle. We want to make sure that we let you guys know that there are many events that are coming up with AMEC. We have an upcoming International Women's event that Ms. Precwinkle, Toni Precwinkle, is going to be the chairperson and one of the roundtable keynote speakers. So thank you once again for attending this event. Thank you for this tremendous opportunity to speak to the Cook County Board President. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I would like to again thank all the members of the esteemed media. We had a record turnout. We had more than 10 different media represented here, actually 12. So we'd like to thank you all. And please join us for lunch, and we'll have a group photograph now. Ms. Precwinkle has to leave on to her next assignment at Bedford Park. You know, Himaji, President Tony loves Indian food. I don't
That's
think
true.
we have time today. I don't
No,
know.
I have to go to Bedford.
I know.
Thank you guys, thank you everybody.